Admiral Sarah Chen stood at the observation deck of Luna Base Alpha, watching Earth rotate slowly beneath her. The holographic displays surrounding her showed hundreds of alien vessels in Earth's orbit, each one believing they were perfectly hidden by their advanced cloaking technology. She allowed herself a small smile. They had no idea that humanity had cracked their stealth systems months ago. "Status report," she commanded softly. Her neural implant, technology the aliens thought impossible for humans to develop, connected her instantly to Earth's defense grid. "All surveillance systems operational," Admiral reported Colonel Zhang, his hologram materializing beside her. "The Arcturus Trade Federation's latest attempt to hack our financial networks has been contained and redirected. They still believe they're successfully infiltrating our systems." Chen nodded, reviewing the data streaming through her consciousness. For 3 years, humanity had maintained an elaborate charade of being a naive, newly spacefaring civilization. They play the role perfectly, wide-eyed wonder at alien technology, grateful acceptance of generous trade deals, and careful adherence to the galactic community's restrictive guidelines for developing species. Meanwhile, humanity's true capabilities grew in secret. Hidden laboratories across the solar system reverse-engineered every piece of alien technology they could get their hands on. Quantum computing centers buried in asteroid belts analyzed patterns of alien behavior, predicting their next moves with increasing accuracy. "The Zorn hegemony's representatives are requesting another meeting," John continued. "They're pushing their protective alliance proposal again." Chen's expression hardened. The Zorn's protection had already reduced 3 other young civilizations to virtual slavery, their resources stripped bare under the guise of security cooperation. "Accept the meeting. Maintain Protocol Omega. Full surveillance, no concessions." A new alert flashed across her vision. The Centauri Consortium, humanity's supposedly friendliest alien contact, was attempting to introduce engineered bacteria into Earth's atmosphere. The bacteria would have slowly modified human biology, making the population more susceptible to their psychic influence. "Containment teams are already handling it," John reported before she could ask. "The consortium's agents still think their operation is proceeding as planned." Chen walked to the other side of the observation deck, where a massive holographic display showed the true state of human space. Hundreds of stealth ships patrolled the solar system, invisible to alien sensors. Quantum weapons platforms orbited in parallel dimensions. Defense systems that merged human innovation with reversed-engineered alien tech stood ready. But more importantly, every alien transmission, every secret meeting, every attempted manipulation was being recorded. The evidence mounted daily, proof of a systematic campaign to keep humanity weak and dependent. "They think they're so clever," Chen mused, watching another alien ship arrive in orbit, its crew unaware they were being scanned down to the molecular level. "They see what they expect to see. A young species stumbling into galactic society, ready to be exploited." A priority alert suddenly cut through her thoughts. Jean's hologram stiffened as the same information reached him. The Arcturus Federation had just authorized a covert operation to crash Earth's entire power grid, planning to offer humanitarian assistance in the aftermath. But this time was different. This operation had been authorized by the Galactic Council itself, the supposedly neutral governing body that claimed to protect developing civilizations. "Send everything to the Security Council," Chen ordered, her voice carrying the weight of a decision long in the making. "It's time to activate the Prometheus Protocol." As alerts went out to Earth's hidden fleets and defense networks, Chen looked once more at her homeworld below. Humanity had been patient, gathering evidence, building strength, waiting for the right moment. The aliens thought they were the ones laying traps, never realizing they were the ones being trapped. "They wanted to teach us our place in the galaxy," Chen said softly. "Time to show them they succeeded, just not the place they intended." The game of predator and prey was about to end, but the aliens were about to discover they'd misidentified which was which. Deep beneath the Mariana Trench, Director Marcus Rivera walked through Project Hyperion's central command, holographic screens flickering with data from across the solar system. The facility, hidden from even the most advanced alien scanners, represented humanity's greatest technological achievement and their greatest deception. Status update on the quantum mesh, he asked, watching teams of scientists fine-tune what appeared to be an ordinary communications array. The aliens thought Earth was still struggling with basic FTL communication. Dr. Yuki Tanaka materialized beside him, her avatar transmitted from her lab in Olympus Mons. The mesh is at 98% coverage, Director. Every alien transmission in the solar system is being intercepted and decoded. They still have no idea their unbreakable encryption was compromised months ago. Rivera nodded, bringing up a classified feed showing the true extent of human space presence, while alien observers smugly monitored Earth's handful of primitive colonies on Mars and Venus. Hundreds of stealth installations operated throughout the asteroid belt and beyond. The Proxima Collective made another attempt to infiltrate our defense systems, Tanaka reported. Their AI probes think they're successfully mapping our vulnerabilities. Let them continue thinking that, Rivera replied, a grim smile playing across his face. How's Project Mirror progressing? Tanaka's avatar grinned. We've successfully replicated every piece of technology they've generously shared with us. But our versions are significantly improved. The Arcturus Federation would have a stroke if they knew their basic shield technology helped us develop phase-shifting capabilities. A priority alert flashed across Rivera's neural interface. The Zorn hegemony had just deployed another wave of nanoscale processors in Earth's atmosphere, supposedly to monitor solar radiation. In reality, they were attempting to subtly influence human brain chemistry, making the population more compliant. Containment teams are already on it, Tanaka assured him. The Zorn sensors will show everything proceeding as planned. Meanwhile, we're using their own processors to gather intelligence on their neural architecture. Rivera moved to the facility's central chamber, where Earth's most closely guarded secret hummed with barely contained power. The Prometheus engine, a quantum computer that merged human innovation with reversed-engineered alien tech in ways its creators never imagined. The engine has finished its latest analysis, Tanaka said, her expression turning serious. The pattern is undeniable. The Galactic Council's protection of developing species is systematic exploitation. They'd done this hundreds of times before. Rivera studied the data streams, each one representing a civilization that had been subtly manipulated, weakened, and eventually absorbed into the Council's sphere of influence. But they've never encountered a species that saw through their game from the beginning. A new alert demanded attention. The Centauri Consortium was proposing a cultural exchange program that would place their advisors in key positions throughout human government. Meanwhile, the Arcturus Federation was attempting to introduce addictive compounds into Earth's water supply, disguised as purification technology. They're getting bolder, Tanaka observed. The Council must think we're nearly ready for the final phase of their integration protocol. Rivera's expression hardened. They thought they were being so subtle, playing such a long game. They never considered we might be playing a longer one. He brought up the latest readiness reports from Earth's hidden fleets. Quantum weapons platforms stood ready in parallel dimensions. Stealth ships carried countermeasures for every known alien technology. And most importantly, the evidence of the Council's true nature grew stronger every day. How many crimes against developing civilizations have we documented? He asked. Over 10,000 major violations of their own laws, Tanaka replied. The Prometheus engine predicts we'll have enough evidence to expose the entire system within 3 months. Rivera nodded slowly. Keep monitoring. Keep gathering data. Let them think their plans are working. He paused, looking at a holographic representation of the galaxy and the countless civilizations that had fallen victim to the Council's manipulations. They wanted to teach humanity its place in the galactic order. They're about to learn that lesson themselves. As he left the command center, Rivera reflected on the irony. The council thought they were slowly entrapping humanity. Instead, they were daily strengthening the case for their own downfall. The trap was nearly ready, but not the one they thought they were setting. The pieces were in motion. The game was approaching its final moves, and humanity's patience was wearing very, very thin. The emergency session of Earth's Unified Defense Council began at midnight Geneva time. Fleet Admiral Chen and Director Rivera stood before the assembled leaders, their expressions grim as they presented the evidence that would change everything. 3 hours ago, we intercepted this transmission from the Galactic Council to their primary enforcement fleet. Chen began, activating a holographic display. They're not just trying to control us anymore. They're planning to break us. The intercepted plans filled the chamber with an eerie blue glow. The Council had authorized a stabilization protocol, a euphemism for what amounted to engineered chaos. They planned to simultaneously trigger economic collapses, environmental disasters, and political upheavals across Earth. Their goal is to create a crisis so severe that we'll have no choice but to accept their direct governance, Rivera explained, his voice tight with controlled anger. They've done this before, to hundreds of civilizations. The room erupted in controlled outrage as more details emerged. The Zorn hegemony would trigger earthquakes along major fault lines. The Arcturus Federation would collapse global communications. The Centauri Consortium would release engineered pathogens that would devastate crop yields. But here's what pushed us past the breaking point, Chen continued, bringing up another data stream. They're not just targeting our infrastructure. They're planning to alter our very nature as a species. The final phase of their plan revealed a horror that silenced even the angriest voices in the room. The Council had developed a bioweapon that would subtly modify human genetics over generations, gradually reducing our capacity for independent thought and innovation. They call it evolutionary guidance, Rivera said, his voice dripping with disgust. They've used it on other species before. Those races now exist as little more than biological drones, totally dependent on Council technology and leadership. The Chinese premier stood, her face a mask of cold fury. How long until they implement this plan? They begin in 48 hours, Chen replied. Unless. She let the word hang in the air. Everyone in the room knew what it meant. For 3 years, humanity had built its strength in secret, preparing for this moment. The only question was whether to strike first. The UN Secretary General's voice cut through the tension. Show them. Rivera nodded, activating a secure channel to Project Hyperion. The chamber's displays shifted, showing the true extent of human military and technological capability. Quantum weapon platforms hidden in dimensional pockets. Fleets of ships with technology that merged human innovation with reversed engineered alien systems in ways their creators never imagined. We're not the primitive species they think we are, Chen stated. We can stop them. But if we act, there's no going back. We'll be revealing everything we've hidden, everything we've built, and we'll have to be prepared for the consequences. The room fell silent as the implications sank in. This wasn't just about defending Earth anymore. This was about fundamentally changing the power structure of the galaxy. They gave us no choice, the Russian president said finally. They could have approached us as equals. They could have offered genuine cooperation. Instead, they chose to treat us as cattle to be controlled. One by one, the world's leaders voiced their agreement. The vote, when it came, was unanimous. Very well, the Secretary General declared. Activate the Prometheus Protocol. All of it. As Chen and Rivera left the chamber to implement humanity's response, they shared a look of grim satisfaction. The aliens thought they were springing a trap. They were about to learn that humanity had spent 3 years building a bigger one. The breaking point had been reached, and the galaxy was about to learn why it was unwise to push humanity too far. When the Galactic Council convened for their emergency intervention session, none of them noticed anything amiss. High Counselor Zarek of the Arcturus Federation was just beginning his speech about the regrettable necessity of implementing control measures on Earth when every screen in the chamber suddenly activated. "Greetings, esteemed council members." Admiral Chen's hologram materialized in the center of the chamber, her expression pleasantly neutral. "We thought it was time for some transparency." The alien's reaction was immediate: shock, outrage, and most tellingly, fear. They shouldn't have been able to breach the Council's quantum-encrypted systems. It should have been impossible. "What is the meaning of this?" Zarek demanded, his crystalline form pulsing with agitation. "This is a gross violation of protocol." Chen interrupted, her smile sharp. "Like your protocols for protecting developing civilizations. Those same protocols you've systematically violated since our first contact." The chamber's displays began showing evidence. Countless recordings, intercepted transmissions, documented violations, every subtle manipulation, every hidden agenda, every crime against not just humanity, but hundreds of other species. "Impossible," breathed the Centauri representative. "You couldn't have accessed these systems. Your technology isn't advanced enough to." A new hologram appeared. Director Rivera standing in Project Hyperion's command center. Behind him, screens showed the true extent of human technological advancement. Quantum computers that surpassed anything in Council space, weapons platforms that existed in multiple dimensions simultaneously, ships with capabilities that merged human innovation with reversed engineered alien tech in ways that made their original creators look primitive. "We learned early on that you weren't trustworthy," Rivera stated calmly. "So we played along, acted the part of the naive newcomers while we studied you, documented your crimes, built our strength." "You don't understand what you're doing," Zarek protested, but his voice wavered. "The galactic order must be maintained. Species must be guided, controlled." "No," Chen cut him off. "What you don't understand is that your time of control is over." At that moment, across Council space, carefully placed quantum devices activated. Every hidden surveillance system, every secret installation, every covert operation was suddenly exposed. The Council's carefully maintained web of manipulation began to unravel. "We're broadcasting everything," Rivera explained. "Every species under your protection is seeing the truth. Every civilization you've manipulated is learning how they've been deceived. And they're all seeing something else too." The displays shifted again, showing Earth's hidden fleets decloaking throughout the galaxy. Not dozens of ships, but thousands. Not primitive vessels, but technological marvels that represented humanity's true capability. "You had a choice," Chen said, her voice carrying the weight of judgment. "You could have approached us as equals, offered genuine cooperation. Instead, you chose deception. Chose to try to break us, control us, remake us in your image." The Council chamber erupted in chaos as reports flooded in. Their subject species were revolting. Their hidden power structures were being exposed. Their entire system of control was collapsing. "This is your only warning," Rivera declared. "A new order is coming. One based on genuine cooperation, not exploitation. You can help build it, or you can be remembered as the tyrants who fell when humanity finally ran out of patience." As the Council's carefully constructed world crumbled around them, Chen allowed herself a small, satisfied smile. "You wanted to teach us our place in the galaxy," she said softly. "Lesson learned. Now it's time for yours." 1 year after what historians would later call the Great Revelation, Admiral Chen stood in the newly constructed Chamber of Equal Nations on Mars, watching representatives from across the galaxy file in for the first session of the Reformed Council. The chamber itself was a testament to the new order. Built with combined technologies from dozens of species, its architecture reflecting not dominance, but cooperation. Light from Mars' twin moons filtered through crystalline walls that had been grown using Centauri techniques merged with human innovations. "The latest integration reports are in," Director Rivera said, joining her at the observation platform. 97% of former council-controlled worlds have successfully transitioned to independent governance. Chen nodded, watching as former victims and oppressors took their seats together. The old council members, stripped of their power, but not their knowledge, now served as advisors rather than rulers. Their expertise was valuable. Their control was not. "And the resistance?" she asked, though she already knew the answer. "The last holdouts of the old guard surrendered yesterday," Rivera confirmed. "Turns out their power was always built on secrecy and manipulation. Once that was gone," he shrugged. Below them, a Zorn representative was deep in discussion with leaders from 3 formerly subjugated species, sharing technological insights that had once been jealously guarded. Nearby, Arcturus scientists collaborated with human researchers, their combined knowledge pushing the boundaries of what was possible. "They're adapting better than we expected," Chen observed. "Even the most ardent supporters of the old system. Amazing what happens when you give people a chance at genuine cooperation," Rivera replied. "Though I suspect having humanity's fleets keeping the peace helps motivate good behavior." A quiet chime announced the start of the session. The chamber hushed as representatives from over 1,000 worlds prepared to discuss matters as equals for the first time in galactic history. Chen's neural implant fed her updates from across human space. The combined knowledge of multiple civilizations had accelerated technological progress beyond what anyone had imagined. Diseases once thought incurable were being eliminated. Environmental damage was being reversed. The stars themselves were becoming more accessible. "They still don't quite understand us," Rivera mused, watching the proceedings. "They can't fathom why we didn't simply take control ourselves, why we insisted on genuine equality." "They will," Chen replied. "That's the difference between control and leadership. Control has to be maintained through force. Leadership is earned through actions." The session began with a proposal to establish new protocols for contacting developing civilizations, ones based on genuine protection and guidance rather than exploitation. The irony wasn't lost on anyone. As she prepared to take her place among the representatives, Chen reflected on the past year. The galaxy had changed more than anyone could have predicted. The transition hadn't been entirely smooth. Centuries of oppression couldn't be undone overnight. But for the first time, species were working together as equals, sharing knowledge rather than hoarding it. "Ready for another exciting day of galactic politics?" Rivera asked with a slight smile. Chen straightened her uniform. "The hard part isn't over," she reminded him. "Building is always more challenging than breaking." But she looked out at the assembled representatives, former enemies and victims, now cautious allies in a new age. "I think we're on the right path." The chamber fell silent as she took the podium. A year ago, humanity had taught the galaxy a lesson about the consequences of pushing too far. Now they were teaching a different lesson. About the power of genuine cooperation, about the strength that comes from working together as equals. It was a harder lesson, but a more important one. And this time, everyone was learning it together. Let me know if you'd like me to help with creating titles, SEO-optimized descriptions, or AI image prompts for this story.